Well, thanks for joining us again. Now, this is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro.
And yes, of course, we have Barrister Darlington Agumo staying back from the morning show. And we are also being joined by Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses Chukwuma. I'm Barrister Darlington.
Well, let's dive into it. Barrister has been saying, look. Okay.
Handshake,
All right.
Abi?
Yes.
Yes,
Across the Niger.
Yes,
Leave my hand now.
Presidential. Oh well, let's dive into the papers now. The Guardian has its banner headline, says World Bank admits Nigeria's economic progress. Says prices remain high. Well, that's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And then the window headlines, freight forwarders write Tinubu as cartels sell e-call-up code for 400,000 naira. US, China agreed to roll back tariffs for 90 days. That's world powers speaking. That's how you know world power. Edo governor seeks arrest of neo-black movement president S.A. Kako. And we also have UTME jammed to address technical issues as 8,391 candidates threaten class action. WAEC candidates anxious as IPOB declares seat at home on May 30 in the southeast. I think there will be WAEC on that day. They'll be writing exams on that day.
It happened last year too.
It happened.
It happened.
It happened there. It happened last year.
2027, amid pushback, zoning complaints, others, PDP explores reconciliation. Suspension, court hears contempt, other applications in Natasha's suit today. NNPCL to resume oil drilling in North as production threatens 2025 budget. FG to overhaul underperforming discos amid lingering IBEDC takeover. Lagos LP suspends chair, dissolves ward executives as Abure faction tackles OT. And if you want to focus on the banner headline, there is a breakdown of issues, but we'll touch on that when we get there. Gentlemen, let's, well,
I am not comfortable when World Bank keep interfering with our economic life. They will say one thing today, tomorrow they will say another one. I don't know what is behind all this their gimmick. The same people, by tomorrow now they will tell you they are not comfortable with the price increases in Nigeria.
Boris, before you proceed, since we are starting off with the World Bank headline, let's take a look at the economic overview breakdown as published by the Guardian newspaper. They say 25,000 naira conditional cash transfer. 5.6 million households paid once. 2.4 million households paid twice. 1.24 million households paid 3 times. Improving states' fiscal positions. States' revenue. 2023, 7.18 trillion naira. 2024, 13.86 trillion naira. State expenditure, 2023, 6.74 trillion naira. 2024, 12.18 trillion naira. Total government revenue, 2023, 20.7 trillion naira. 2024, 37.1 trillion naira. And then FG states LG's fiscal deficit and GDP ratio. 2023, 5.4%. 2024, 3%. That's the breakdown as published by The Guardian. You may proceed.
This breakdown, Moses, who brought these figures to the public domain? Was it not the government? So you want me now to support what you just read, Abi? I will not. Because truth has never come out of this government. So all those figures, until an independent forensic experts now compute what they have done and tell us that, yes, these people were really paid, I will not listen to them. That is one. Then two, let me go back to the World Bank. You remember, it was these people that started all this so-called reform that we don't know where it's going now. From subsidy removal to NEPA. In fact, they are saying that the electricity subsidy is even unnecessary. That means they are going to remove, they should remove everything completely. You can imagine how these people keep giving us poisoned wine in a poisoned chalice. And we are drinking it. We are drinking it until our stomach start complaining. Then they will not say, okay, we are going to restructure. We are going to reform. We are going to remove it. That's the next thing you will hear. Please, please, please. If we must survive in this country as a nation, do away with these bodies, please. We can do things on our own, just like every other country. I don't know why IMF and World Bank are interested in Nigerian matter. Meanwhile, all the places they have gone to in Africa or even outside Africa, they have never survived. They have never been industrialized. Because the weight of the loan they collected is in fact, it is causing problem in those countries. So how do you think your own will be different? IMF and World Bank should leave us alone. They have been dictating, oh yeah, do this, oh yeah, do that. Meanwhile, they know where they are going. No, they know that when there is problem with all these their policies, the government will come to borrow money. They will come to borrow money to what? To assuage the impact of those policies that they introduce. Is that how to build a country? Why can't they go and advise US and whatever? Have you ever heard that US, the World Bank and the IMF are advising US on what to do with the economy? Even when they have challenges, they look for how to come out of it without any interference from World Bank and the IMF. But in Africa, especially in Nigeria, they will come immediately. They will come and tell you, right, give advice.
You want to? I think Mr. Fanimo wants to react. But before you do, let's take the riders to this story. It might just give a better perspective. The riders, independent analysis. At current rates, country needs 11 years to achieve $1 trillion economy target.
Oh.
Government defends budget estimates, orthodox monetary policy. Increased transparency, cut cost of governance, government urged. Fiscal improvement more pronounced at state level, says report. 9.34 million households receive 25,000 naira cash transfer. Those are the riders to that headline.
Well, if you look at all the indices and data pushed out, you will notice one thing that is present in this data analysis. Everything was on the level of micro level, and not macro level and not micro. Now, if you are telling me you are pushing this, what is the value of 25,000 naira in today's Nigeria?
How effective was it?
How effective can that 25, even if you are paying somebody 25,000 naira every week in this country today, you can't take that person out of poverty. And then now you are throwing 25,000 that you needed to deploy to other sector that would bring the benefit of 100,000 to that person indirectly. You give me 25,000 naira and I'm going out in the morning. If I don't have 5,000 naira in my pocket, I can't get out of my house. If I try to get out of my house with less than 5,000 naira, the likelihood of not coming back to that home is real. But this money you are talking about, take it to another sector, buy buses, CNG buses, throw it to the public domain, and then that man that needs 5,000 every day to commute now has to use less than 2,000 naira to commute. Already you have saved 3,000 naira every day for that endeavor alone. Now, that same person, if you have NHIS for the civil servants and you promote HMO for the private sector and let it also trickle down to the informal sector, what that means is if I have to carry out a surgery that requires me paying 1 million naira, but because I'm covered by the HMO I will only pay 10% of the 1 million naira, and that surgery will be carried out. Yeah. That means you have given me 900,000, which is not even palliative. I am more comfortable. So why would you now address today and you are not talking about tomorrow? And somebody, a multilateral national organization, a multilateral organization like IMF and World Bank, are not looking at some of those indices. Now they are encouraging us. You give 25,000 to about 1 or 2 million households, and then twice you give the same amount to some household 3 times, and then another household just once, and then you call that growing the economy.
I wonder.
It doesn't really make any sense.
I wonder.
Yes, it doesn't make sense. And I was wondering, at what point, how come that the World Bank says, look, that Nigeria is making economic progress simply because some people were paid stipends, palliative. Palliative and all of that.
No, because their money has been paid.
No, it's not about their money being paid. Their money has been paid. Yes, so I'm trying to get a nexus between those payments and economic progress.
I wonder.
Meanwhile, the same World Bank turns around to say, look, prices are still high. So has inflation come down? It hasn't, according to what they say.
They should remove.
It's like you are giving with one hand and taking with the other hand.
So basically, during the bidding of the government,
yes. So basically,
somebody say, look, put out good information about us. Or could that be it?
No, I'm not sure it's all about that.
I'm trying to do the maths, really, to see how much would have been saved. Because you talked about this money being used to do other things. If 25,000 by 9.34 million, I'm trying to do the maths, but I think my phone has not got into it.
The essence of, excuse me, Barrister, the issue of what World Bank, puts out, and someone asked, is it that they are doing that we are trying, somebody is saying, put up, favorable report for us and all of that. Well, in Nigeria, anything can happen because we have seen many things, strange things happen here, and we just, cruise by as a people. So, but the thing about, it still goes back to the point of what we do with these Bretton Woods institutions. Barrister, I asked a question, are they doing all of this outside Africa? Yes, I also know that at some point, it is these same Bretton Woods institutions, that were established after at the end of the Second World War, that was used to rebuild the whole of Europe and even Japan. As at 1961, Japan borrowed money from the World Bank, to finance a rail project that eventually opened up the Japanese economy.
Okay.
But what do we have here? We have a situation where we borrow money from World Bank. What do? We borrow 200 billion naira from World Bank. We give our legislators 70 billion naira to use to retrofit their wardrobes and offices and all of that. We have a Chinese loan that we are trying to use to finance the rail project. For how many years we've not been able to complete that rail project? At a point it gets cannibalized. When the trains move, we even have terrorists, that abduct and kidnap people, and ransom is paid.
Blow up the rail lines too. They blow
up the rail lines. So which country makes progress in under that situation? Nobody does. So while we blame the World Bank, we should also blame the problem is not in us, in our stars, but in us, that we have failed to use what benefited other nations of the world. So the problem goes back to the issue of leadership. All the monies that we have borrowed, what have we done with that money? I just cited a Japan that borrowed money in 1961 from the World Bank, and they used it to develop their rail lines that opened up the Japanese economy. What do we have here?
Do you know that the level of interest given to us here in Africa is not the same thing with the Western world? Are you aware?
Barrister, if you don't need that interest, if the interest is high, don't take the money.
Good. Then why can't they leave us alone? Why are they always...
By the way, who told you that there are different interest rates? I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
No, there are.
Why? Why would there be?
No, go and check.
You also use your oil as collateral. We understand that our oil has been taken up from mortgage in 2030. So should we blame the World Bank or should we blame the leader that signed that agreement?
Now the problem is a two-way thing. The part of Africa we can understand. Then these institutions, because if you check very well, they don't even want you to come out of debt. Because if you come out of debt, who will then be?
Barrister, these institutions don't want you to come out of debt. They sign off your debts. How much billion in 2007?
No, that was
2003.
2003.
Yeah, during Obasanjo era. Now, listen very well. If they have collected the 3 times, both interest and the principal, what are they looking for again?
So why did you go back again to collect loans from the same people that wrote off your debts?
That is where the internal problem comes.
So we should stop blaming them.
No, most
I
of
don't
them.
like all this talk about neocolonialism.
Listen very well.
This is Marxist scholars. That was what they used to explain away the inefficiencies of leaders.
And that was what collapsed the USSR. Now listen. If
what collapsed USSR? What collapsed USSR?
Are you asking me? This theory you are talking about now. That was why China learned their lesson. They don't want to go strict socialism. It can never work anywhere.
No, Barrister, you didn't get my point. I said, look, it is when we blame foreign countries, when we blame the West for our problems, I'm saying that is what Marxist scholars used to explain away the inefficiencies of African leaders. Yes.
And you think those theories are for nothing? That means
you
have not read
anything called neocolonialism.
You have not read how you don't that erroneous. You have not read that book. How Europe underdeveloped Africa.
No, what I'm trying to say is let us stop blaming the World Bank and IMF. We blame this. No, don't blame them.
They are
blame
taking
yourselves.
No, they are taking advantage of our.
You know they take advantage of you. Keep going to them to continue to take advantage of you.
Yeah, because the world is a global village. They need us. We need them. It's just that they feel that we are not developed, so therefore they are taking advantage of Africa. Why can't we have good leaders? Why are they always supporting the bad leaders?
Barrister, are they the ones that give you bad leaders?
They are part of it. They are part of it.
You see the problem?
Yeah, they are part
blaming others for our fault, our mistakes.
No, they are part of it. If they can allow us, like now, US is hiding somebody.
Barrister, you know that someone comes outside to cause problem in your family. You keep allowing the person to continue to cause problem in your family, and you end up blaming that person instead of taking responsibility.
They are taking advantage of our.
Barrister, you take advantage of yourself, not the World Bank, not the West.
No, they are taking advantage of us because they know we are not truly developed. Barrister, that's the truth.
Barrister, you are aware that some countries, particularly Latinos, had rebuffed IMF and World Bank at some point. And those countries, they have not crumbled up to today. Some are even making strides.
Still better than Africa.
Better than Africa. So what essentially we are talking about is that we need to take responsibilities for our actions and inactions. If we determine today, look at those young guys that said, no, enough of our apron string be tied to France. Today, those smaller countries in West Africa, they are still there. Niger is still there. Burkina Faso is still there. Mali is still there. Despite the almighty powers of France. So what we are saying is, it gets to a point that you decide to say, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And we have traveled this road several times. If we were washed clean of debt in less than 25 years ago, and now we are neck deep in debt, how did we get from that point to this point? It is still a question of bad leadership. Because the resources that were available when Obasanjo was there, Obasanjo came to meet oil at $23 to $25 per barrel. And it grew to about 96 barrels before he left in 2007. And between that period, he was able to pay back a chunk of the debt we are owing, though he also, in a way, frittered some of those goodwill. But what we are saying is, today, oil hovers between $65 and $75 per barrel in the last 1 and 2 years. Now, when Buhari was there, oil was notching around 96 to $1. Now, what did Buhari do that he left Nigerians poorer? To the extent that those windfall did not reflect in the daily lives of Nigerians. And yet, you have mortgaged our future to to 2030 using our unextracted crude as collateral for a loan that we cannot see the infrastructural development in Nigeria. So what we are saying is, did IMF come to decide that the money they gave, you should repatriate it back to us?
Yes, indirectly. Listen, when they give you this loan,
as bad as Abacha was, Abacha stood his ground against these multilateral agencies, and he was able to put them in check.
That was why they conspired against him. Yes.
Yeah, well, and
because
at that time, between when Abacha took over government and when he left, Naira was constantly at 86 Naira to a dollar. If you look at military and civilian government in this country today, since 1979 to date, you realize that what the military had done to Nigerians are far better than what the civilians have done.
But, sorry, Moses, before the barrister, I want to ask you one very personal and clear question now. If you have a friend that comes outside to cause problem in your family, you understand this friend very well. He continues to come to your problem, to your family, to cause problem, and you know it very well. Will you continue to blame that friend or to blame yourself?
Look, if the person is doing it indirectly and without actually showing himself,
But you know.
You may not understand what he's doing.
No, but in this case, you understand.
No, it's different from what you are saying here. This is an economic issue. When they give you loan and then conditions are attached to it, a condition that you cannot
give him. Are you duty bound to accept those loans?
Sorry?
Are you duty bound to accept the loan?
Like when they came into office, when Tinubu came, he said that he met near what a collapsed economy. Is that not why he now started all this?
So when he borrowed money, World Bank told him, give 70 billion to your legislators, give 30 billion to judiciary.
The fact remains that he borrowed the money.
And World Bank told him what to do with
the money. He said infrastructure. Those infrastructure, who are providing the technical aspect of it? Who? Is it not foreigners?
Maybe.
Who are equally attached to this
IMF
and World Bank? Do you have the structure yourself? Do you have it?
All right then.
All the hardware you need to do you have them? It's coming from outside. And you pay for them.
Let's move into other conversations now. I would like us to react to this conversation. We mentioned this to JAM and UTME. JAM to address technical issues as 8,391 candidates threaten class action. A lot of people have been reacting to the mass failure declared by JAM. A lot of Nigerians have come on social media. I watched a few young ladies say, look, how could I have scored 130 something when I know the efforts I put in there? You know, now JAM is saying that, look, there are technical issues that they will have to look at. Let's merge that story with a similar one. This one here says, WAEC candidates anxious as IPOB declares seat at home on May 30 in the Southeast. Let's have your reactions. Let's merge both stories.
Now, let me say this. Don't venture into what you don't know. That is the problem here. WAEC want to go CBT, they want to go digital, they want to go. When they don't have the structure.
First of all, they didn't jump into this thing. They've been.
You have not perfected it now. You have not
migration now. We are talking about IPOB insisting that there will be.
There are two stories.
Let's take it one by one.
Okay.
That of JAM, let us blame them. They were not ready for this thing because they did not take into cognizance NEPA fluctuation. Like somebody was saying that when the thing is shut down, before it can boot, time is going and all that. And then the computers are not even up to par. You know, those things are there. And you know that as a body, you are not ready. So why did you now bring all these problems? That means whether they like it or not, some people are going to retake this JAM next year.
And that's what some Nigerians are saying, that look, that JAM is making money off the people, failing people intentionally.
That's why I support this class action, so that it will make them to sit up. Yes, that's why I'm supporting this class action. Let them go ahead, so that it will not tell them that people are not stupid.
Now, let's relate this to May 30 in the Southeast, education-wise. what do you think this portends, the seat at home for Southeasterners, if they have to go write exam on that day and students are unable to write exam? What sort of future are we looking for the Southeasterner?
I think this is where the people behind this thing should be thinking ahead, because if you check, it's not something you can avoid, because this thing is done every year. If you now said, okay, next year I am going to be more careful and all that, how careful can you be? Because there will always be 30th of May next year, and the same thing will happen. And it's not everybody that have the resources to go outside the state, and that means you are living in town Southeast to go and register for JAMB somewhere. It's not everybody. So the people behind
it's not even JAMB, it's WAEC. It's WAEC. And
no, that's WAEC. Yeah.
The WAEC, and you need to have your WAEC.
When my son wrote his WAEC, it was on that day that they wrote mathematics.
Mathematics
is a core course. It's a core subject.
Good. So if you need to have WAEC before you can talk of JAMB, that's the irony here. You need to be sure that you have your WAEC before you can be talking of JAMB. So that JAMB is equally more crucial, except those who want to go through private universities.
I think if the advisors of Nnamdi Kanu, and IPOB, factored the future of the young person in the Southeast, they should have said, look, this year, let's not, in years before now, we've seen how this has impacted the lives of students. Some students have had to rewrite the examination.
Because some people missed the mathematics outrightly. And you don't have the result. You don't have the results.
You see, let's not paper over this thing. IPOB should address this thing once and for all, for the sake of these youngsters. Because a year in the life of a growing up child, I tell you, can make a lot of meaning, either positively or negatively, in that girl child or boy child's life. Let them realize that they need to let these people know that what they are doing is self-immolation. Because it doesn't affect any other person from other region. Other people will move on. And yet, you are trying to stunt the growth of your own children in your own domain. Who loses? Can't you shift these dates? Agitation is an endless thing. Even in a conducive environment, you should
just observe.
Yes,
allow people to go about their normal business.
You can raise your flag, you can move around, do possession, but allow the students to write their exams.
Because
it can snowball into something else.
That's why we are saying that they should have used the appropriate word. I said it here. Observe is different from outright sit at home. Like they could have exempted these youths who want to go and write WAEC and all that.
You can close the market. You can say civil servants should not go to work, but allow these children to go to work to write their exams.
Exactly. It should have been done that way. They can even provide buses at different centers so that they can now board a particular bus and all that and go en masse, to avoid any obstruction on the road. These are things they should have thought of. And they do not show that, yes, they have the interest of...
Do you know how much goodwill IPOB can attract to
exactly.
If on that day,
they do this
even when you say you want to observe this sit-at-home thing, and you roll out buses with inscription of IPOB and say, any student in uniform that wants to write, any student that wants to write an exam is free ride.
And you don't think that will attract
security?
Yes.
In what way?
A bus driving by on a day that has been declared sit at home by IPOB.
I said the same
IPOB. What he's saying is to take away the sit at home order.
Yes.
Take away the order entirely. But to have a sit at home order and then a bus drives by. That will attract the security agencies. They might just open fire.
There will be much political capital for IPOB if on that day, rather than say nobody should go. You now provide buses.
Absolutely.
To students. And then let the media
uniform. They should be on their uniform.
Any student in uniform is allowed to board that bus to his examination center and back. it will attract some goodwill.
If you don't have the resources to do that, you could just tell the Southeasterners, look, today is Biafra Commemoration Day. Pray for the dead, people that died during the war and all of that, and allow people to go.
Media houses in the Southeast can talk about it. You can even organize something in a small hall, or just do something, and then everybody.
We can even go to church and pray and all of that.
And everybody else goes about their business.
But then you can't blame them because of insecurity in the Southeast. They don't know who is who. The security agents from the federal government, they are not helping matters.
When people are going about their normal businesses, what would the security agencies do now?
They go to shoot them.
I see. You can imagine. Have they not been doing that? Is that not the real problem on its own?
So, on a day on 30th May that Southeasterners say today is Biafra Commemoration Day, just pray, go to your business, but observe it in solemnity and all of that. What will security agencies do?
They will do a lot. They have been doing a lot.
All right then. Let's also react to this headline. 2027, amid pushback, zoning complaints, orders, PDP explores reconciliation. Come on, let me start off with you on this one.
I thought I had said something about it, and I asked questions about, because Wike said something like, PDP, let's not make the mistake of 2023. In 2027, let us ensure that the ticket comes to the South, PDP. Now, we already have first offer of refusal in APC, which is the president, who is going to fly the APC ticket. We also have a P2B who is angling to run in 2027, whether on the platform of the Labour Party or which other party, whether Obedient Party or whatever. So at that point, we now have 3 candidates from the South. And my question is this: wouldn't that practically mean handing back the power to the North?
Because the North will come together and
because
one person.
The North will come together and give one person the ticket. Mind you, there's already a gang up against the president by the North. We hear the latest of them is Sule Lamido, who is saying, look, President, your policies are causing problems for Nigerians. Article has been very vocal. El-Rufai said, look, this is not a party that we formed and all of that. The North, people like Baba Ahmed is saying, look, if you try to do anything in 2027, you are likely going to divide this country. And in all of this, we have the Wike who comes out to say, look, PDP, the ticket has to come to the South. And I ask, Wike, is he speaking for the PDP, or is he actually supporting the president, or does he want to cause problems for him in the South? And we have an analyst who says, look, if Wike has a chance of running against Tinubu in 2027, he is going to do that. And the big question, maybe, Dele, you can help us if you understand it. If you put Tinubu and Wike in a political contest in 2027, what will be the likelihood? What do you think will happen? Between Wike and Tinubu, who will the Southerners prefer?
The Southerners will not prefer Wike.
Okay.
Because his political capital is low. Okay. And his cantankerous way of doing things they would rather prefer somebody who is more tempered and matured.
Like Tinubu?
Yes.
Okay. With all that the APC has done in the past 2 years or so?
Has it not been part of the...
Between the devil and the deep blue sea.
It's more like between the devil and the deep blue sea now. Okay.
I'm not saying Tinubu is perfect, but nobody will want to toy with a Rottweiler where you can still manage a Caucasian.
Or even a German
But are you aware that Wike has huge followership?
Where? Show me one strong politician that is on the side of Wike in this country.
Okay,
that can openly come out.
Openly on his side.
How about the masses?
Who are the masses?
No,
I'm just asking.
You mean all these rascals at the motor park and the bus stop?
Rascals at the motor park, are they not the ones that prevent others from voting during the election?
No, anytime you go to River State, who are the people that
don't even imagine that Wike and Tinubu will contest.
No, it's not possible. It's not possible.
There is a level at which Wike cannot rise above.
Okay.
And that level is where he is now. To be doing the dirty jobs.
Okay, so what would be the impact of that on the South, on the Southern presidency?
No, his calculation is that if the ticket comes to the South, the likelihood that they don't have any heavyweight that may match Tinubu is there. Because who do you have? P2B is the only thing that's going for him is the moral capital, is integrity. Eh? And in Nigeria today, because of stomach infrastructure, those things don't get votes, except in an extreme case where people will say, no, based on this and this, I'm voting for P2B and not for the money. But this other person, he has a very big
But that was what worked for him in 2023.
But people are getting to be wiser gradually.
Wiser? Nigerians getting wiser?
No, seriously, I am telling you, they are getting wiser. It's not a one-day thing. It may take a while before people will realize that their vote is their life. It's not something you tell them one day, you believe that all of them will agree with you. No, it's a gradual thing. By the time this thing continues to impact on their life, they will change. And when that changes, somebody will now bear the brunt. Maybe somebody who was not expecting it. You will not know that people's mind have been changed already. You now go thinking that they're all about money. They'll collect the money and still do what they want to do. Maybe that time everybody will sit up. But to say that it will happen in one day is not possible. It can never happen.
You know, when you say people will collect money and still do what they want and what they would have loved to do, it shows that we don't visit some of these polling booths when people are voting. You see, the way this thing is arranged is, if I'm an agent of Party A and I'm told to distribute 10,000, I'm not going to give you that 10,000 naira until you vote. And the way to assure the person that is giving out this 10,000 naira is, once you get to the booth, you thumbprint and you raise it up like this as if you want to fan it so that the ink does not spill. And that person marks you and says, yes, you have voted for us. So how is that person going to escape not voting?
In Ghana, let me tell you, in Ghana, I'm a reporter. We can overcome this thing.
Both of you have done it before.
Listen,
I've never been a party agent, but I am a reporter.
We can overcome in Ghana. When you come to the polling units, those that want to vote, they bring them into an enclosure. Inside that enclosure, you are not allowed to come with vote or money. You'll be screened. So those who are voting, they will come into that enclosure. Then every other thing is outside. In fact, distant from that place.
Do they go in there with their phones?
Do
they go in there?
No, they don't. They don't. You are not allowed
to take your phone.
Have you ever voted in Ghana?
I said,
have you ever voted in Ghana?
We have interviewed a player in Ghana during their last election who came here to tell us how this, because we are using Nigeria as an example of what goes on here. He said that something don't happen over there. They don't do it. They will not even allow you, no matter who you are. So within that environment, you only go and vote and leave. Nobody will come and be checking where you voted and where you did not vote. It was never allowed in Ghana. So if it can be done in Ghana, why can't we do it here?
You see, the resistance in Ghana is not during voting. It's at the point where you want to induce them with commodities. We saw it. I was not in Ghana when that happened, but we saw it live on television, that people were returning bags of rice to politicians. Have we done that here in Nigeria?
Well, we have done it. Anambra women resisted it during the last election. Yes, Anambra women. Their own were prominent. And I know some individuals who equally resisted. It may not be too
What is loud, the fraction of the individual?
It may not be in a large number, but at least, that's why I tell you that this is not a one-day thing. It's a gradual process before people now realize that, oh, this is where people are taking us to.
All right.
They will now see.
But you have a headline you want us to check out.
Yes, the Boko Haram by the incident in Borno State.
Oh, yes.
Can we find it? Where is it?
Can't find that headline right now, but I think we shared it earlier in the day.
Is that even a news? It's a common thing. In fact, I would have been surprised if it did not happen. Seriously. We are used to it now. Abi? We are going to that level. We don't even bother. And we are talking of our military. It's no longer news, seriously. It doesn't make news again. People will be surprised if for 1 week you didn't hear such stories. Have we not gotten to that level? But when some of us we are shouting here, they say you are talking too much. That's even what annoys me.
Well, I think this is the headline here. Boko Haram strikes again, horrific scene in Borno military base. Bloodshed, chaos and fear rise. That's the headline.
Of course.
Boko Haram striking a military base.
Again, in
With
Borno. Not just in
Eh?
Borno, but in a military base.
But you remember when I told you here that this insecurity is fueled by three things: ethnic interest, selfish interest, and tribal interest, and religious interest. If you remove these things will end. If not, tell me, Mr. Okora must tell me if this were to happen here, down here, that IPOB going to attack a military base in somewhere in the southeast. Don't you know what will happen? Will any of them get out of that place alive? But here they do it routinely, commonly. And nobody says anything. Is it not because of somebody's selfish interest that is driving this thing? Is our people, is our religious whatever, is our tribe. That is the only thing, nothing else. Every other thing you are saying here, forget it. Because I've done the analysis, I've looked at it critically, and I observed that this thing is being fueled because some people are still thinking of tribal politics. Meanwhile, Nigeria is going down. Nigeria is going down. They know that this thing is backfiring, yet they don't want to come out and confront it. Because they know what they are doing. They are only interested in power, power, power. The real problem that is worrying you at all, you are not solved it. You want to grab power. You want to lead Nigeria. The one you led before, what came out of it? What came out of it? So, except we have decided that, look, we don't want this thing. It will never go away. Go and check. Do you know why America got independent from the UK? One day they read one book written by Thomas Paine, who was said to be an atheist in Britain. They had to deport him to the New World, America. The man got there, and after seeing everything, he wrote that book, The Rise of Man. And he said that in that book that, look, except you confront evil, except you fight evil, it will never go away. That's how Americans took up and said they are chasing away Queen and their people. That's the truth. That book made them to rise up against their colonial masters. And the rest is history. Here, we see our problem, we are pampering it. We are pampering it. Thinking that it will go away. It will never go away.
They say that no society can ever change that which it condones.
Abi, it's a fact.
And unfortunately for us, we have a situation where we have our people at the head of our security. I mean, the defense headquarters coming to tell us that, look, insecurity in Nigeria is feared by foreigners. That the people that are killing people in Benue Plateau, in the center of the country, are foreigners. And we have a chief of defense staff that says that, and he retains his position.
I'm telling you.
We have a national security advisor who says weapons, arsenal used by kidnappers and terrorists, were received from the Nigerian military, and he retains his position.
And the head of immigration has not been called to answer.
How come foreigners are the ones causing problems for us in Nigeria?
No, when Lukarawa was coming, do you know what the military? We saw them. We saw when they came through that axis. Some came through the east. Some came to the other side. We saw them when they were coming in. We knew when they were coming in. I said, hey, I am telling you, that was the first announcement from the military, that they knew when they came in, they saw them and all that. And nothing was done until they became a problem. That has been the modus operandi. So are you telling me that the man that was saying this, if not for whatever sentiment he has, he would have allowed them to come in? No, tell me. It's because of that sentiment I'm talking about. What is driving this society now called Nigeria? Go and check one sentiment or the other. Nobody wants to talk about Nigeria's existence. No. It's all about their own sentiment that will now favor them. Yet we think we are fighting insecurity.
You see, what my worry is when non-state actors begin to decimate the ranks of our military.
I'm telling you, very, 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 very sad.
It shows how weak we as a nation can be. How can this ragtag Boko Haram people come into a military base and decimate the ranks of soldiers in that barrack? It's each time I show that when I imagine this thing.
Do you smell sabotage?
Part of it.
There is nothing you cannot factor into this. I've lived in military barracks before. I know how formidable, how impregnable a barracks should be. So for non-state actors, if you look at these guys, some of them wear babariga or wear all these things and wrap something on their head, and they are going ragtag people. And now they came into a barrack and sacked the barrack.
Telling you.
It can't be just those people. There must be something behind this thing. And yet, somebody is a commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He cannot do anything. Somebody is a national security advisor. He cannot do anything. The defense minister cannot do anything. We have service chiefs.
Do you know
even if it's going to bring about collateral damage, is it not better you wipe out these people once and for all? And damn the consequence?
I think it goes back to what Barrister said, those sentiments. Ethnic, tribal.
Yes, that is it.
That is why we are unable to.
This same Buhari that said your people are killing my people. When it was governor of Borno State, when Matasine started their problem, he chased them beyond the borders of Nigeria to Niger. They told him to come back. He said he was not going to come back. So what failed him years later that he cannot confront these miscreants? For 8 years, they were being populated by Almajiris. They were feeding them, and the ones they say they are rehabilitating. Once they rehabilitate and train them, they go back to the bush to fight the soldiers.
When I said that it is better to chase a black sheep in the daytime before nightfall, in 2016, when Buhari was in office, this man included 940 million naira in our national budget to fund the Fulani herdsmen's activities. I was in a studio in one TV station and we talked about it. I said, this is trouble coming. I said it. This is trouble coming. Has never happened in the history of Nigeria. They talked at the other person who was being said, it is to stop. I said, what? Why can't they do it to other people now who are doing their businesses? They say, okay, after all the arguments, okay, it is to stop Fulani's farmer header clash and all that. Right. I said it will not solve the problem. Right. Eventually, we agreed that it will help to build ranches. Because that was what Buhari said. He will build ranches and nobody will now encroach on any farmland. Mr. Moses, Okoro, and all the rest of you here. Since that time till now, have you seen one ranch anywhere?
All right then. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for this. But we have our man on the streets, Matthew Ogunswada. He will be speaking to Nigerians as they react to the headlines from the papers, where you just might get a different analysis from what you've had in the studio when you hear Nigerians on the streets. All right. Well, that's it on the show. Big thanks to Barrister Darlington Agumo. Thank you very much for coming. Also, big thanks to Dele Fanimo for staying with us. Chikuma, you want to share?
Yes, 6 o'clock. Political lens. We are going to discuss the sit at home in the Southeast on 30th of May 2025.
So don't miss out on that. All right, so that's it on the show today. I am Moses Humphrey, but hey, stay with us as we go over now to Matthew Ogunswada as he speaks to Nigerians as they share their thoughts on the headlines from the papers.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's another beautiful morning in the streets of Lagos, and Voice of the People Television is on the street to bring you the latest updates on the newspaper review session. On this segment, we speak to Nigerians and citizens on what's trending in politics, business, economy, and other sectors. And I have with me a Nigerian that would like to react to the latest developments. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us on the newspaper review.
Thank you.
All right. What's your name, sir?
My name is Taiwo Adedugba.
All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Taiwo, we saw you reading the newspaper earlier this morning. Tell us which of the story is interesting to you, and how do you think this captivated your attention?
Politics, political landscape in a country is actually amazing. I saw the way politicians are defecting from one party to the other, which is amazing. And to me, I didn't go down well with me because actually I'm seeing egocentric nature in display, in the sense that if you say you actually have your party at heart, I mean, there will be that kind of a sense of dedication, commitment, consecration, devotion to a cause, you know, in terms of sacrificing to take the party to a lofty height. You understand? Many, I'm seeing a situation whereby many are just running to reap where they have not sown. You understand? So the whole thing is actually funny. I don't think our politicians actually have, you know, that nature of integrity. You know, like he said in the Bible by Job, he said, integrity preserve me. So it's so funny.
Thank you, Mr. Taiwo. So what do you want the politicians to do differently?
They should cultivate a nature that will, you know, that will serve as a foundation for the youths, that are incoming ones, that they will build upon in terms of having a true nature of integrity. At least you have a way of carrying the country forward for good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taiwo. That's Mr. Taiwo reacting to the latest defection in the Nigeria's political landscape. Stay with us as we bring you other opinion from Nigerian citizens. All right, so I also have with me Mr. Joachim, who would like to react to one of the stories this morning. There are lots of stories trending this morning, sir, from political scene to business to economy and others. In the political scene, we have seen a lot of defection in recent times. What do you have to say about that? Do you think that's a great move towards political participation in Nigeria?
No, it's not a great move. Most of them are afraid of the election, based on the fact that election in Nigeria is not based on voting, it's based on selection. So some of them who feel like maybe they're not ready to face the challenges, they want to go to the ruling party so that they can be protected, so that their base can be protected based on the fact of selection of our thing. You know, if our elections is based on voting, most of them will not return. If our elections are based on voting, most of them will not have up to 10 or 5% of votes. But because of all this election of party, that is party of a thing. You know, if you belong to our camp or our group, you are going to win. Whatever you do, you are covered. As far as you belong to our party, that was the reason why many of them defect. Many of them going to the ruling party, because what we are seeing on ground is not good enough for anybody to say, I want to change to the other way around. So, but because they are afraid, and based on the fact that the person in charge is a master of all those things, so they are afraid to face him. So the best option for them is for them to do what? To go to his camp, to go to where he belongs, so that the whole thing will go around in favor of them. So that's it. It's not because maybe the party in charge that are doing well, they are not doing absolutely nothing. So, but because they want to protect their own interests.
So any areas of improvement for the masses?
There's no this thing. Though I want to tell you that this coming election, a lot of people will not come out to vote. There will be total apathy of this 2027 election. Me as a person, I will not come out.
And why, sir?
Why? The reason why is that our voting doesn't count. Our voting doesn't count. So they have already know what to do. So for you to come out is a waste of time. So it's better you stay back, let them do whatever they want to do.
So what are the better things you want to be restructured?
Voting system. We want our voting our votes to be counted. Once you vote, after the voting, they count it, transmit it to the public, so that everybody that we know that this person is the one that won. So it's not about this. You do election today, in the next 3-4 days, that's still arranging the whole process. So no.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. All right, so we also have another Nigerian, who is Mr. Dominic, who would like to react to some stories in the Nigerian dailies this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Well, in our political space and the democratic parties in Nigeria, one party system is not healthy for the country. We would like a state to have a multi-party system that can help individuals to try their luck in becoming president or vice president or a senator. One party system is not healthy for this nation, and defection itself cannot cannot help anyone to win election if we have an INEC that is dependable, that is transparent. If you have an INEC that is dependable and transparent, defection will not be effective in our election. But for the fact our INEC is not dependent, anything can happen.
So you want INEC to improve on its modus operandi?
You said?
You want INEC to improve on its function?
Yes. Yesterday, INEC chairman says he delivered 142 recommendations to the National Assembly. Things they should do to improve their work as INEC. So INEC themselves know a lot of things need to be done for them to improve themselves. As we know today, INEC is not transparent in whatever they're doing. And when you are not transparent, there's a need to compromise. But when you are transparent and independent, you will do what is right. But everybody will commend you that what you have done is right.
All right, so in the next few days, the administration of President Bola Tinubu will be 2 years. How would you rate his administration so far? Excellent, very good, good, fair, poor, or what are the areas of improvement that you want him to do for the masses or for Nigerians?
Presently now, I will give the performance of the president for the last 2 years 50%.
Why?
Because he has not met our expectation. For example, when he came on board, the price of fuel was close to 170, but now it's about 900 naira. When he came on board, that was standing like 700, or a little above 700. Now it's almost 1,600. And that has made more life to be more hard for Nigerians. As a Nigeria, if I'm spending 2,000 naira before 3 weeks came on board to take care of myself alone, now the money is doubled by 3. And it's not helping us in any way. So the president have a lot of work to do to improve the standard of living for Nigerians. I wish him best of luck, and I pray that God give him the wisdom to drive this country to the prosperity he promised us.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Dominic. A lot of Nigerians reacting to the ongoing developments in the country regards the World Bank report that says that Nigeria's economy is gradually improving. They are also reacting to stories regards the defection, and they are also charging the government, that's the president of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to make sure that he look towards the economic hardship plaguing the country while addressing a lot of issues. This is where we draw the curtain on the newspaper analysis segment this morning. For more information, you can follow us on all our social media platforms, and it's back to you in the studio.